What's my dream tonight? It seems like it is taking place under the ground, in the caverns, beneath. There's darkness in this place, but of course, I can see the cave. And I'm the viewer. And there's some kind of weaving going on, a rope. And I was trying to tie up the rope because every new rope that I link to the other rope is something like a causation to the rope. I'm linking myself to it. I weave the rope in order to link myself to the rope. But then I realized, as the dream progresses, that somehow, as I kept weaving, it didn't weave from me. It goes round back into the cave. The rope, I mean. And it continues to be weaved into the cave. I thought I was actually the weaver of the rope. But strangely, as I progressed in that dream, and to my amazement, I woke up, I realized that I, the viewer, wasn't weaving the rope. The rope just simply weaved by itself, so to speak, and goes around, goes back into the cave of darkness. You know, what is significant about this dream is that it tells me that all through the years, I tried to create a new rope and tie it to the other rope so that I could link it to myself. In other words, all these years I've been making myself think that I'm the one who did this, who do that, who do this. But actually, in truth, there was no link. But instead, the rope was actually running back to itself. Causation was running back to itself in a loop. And I is altogether only the viewer. Gosh. It is like what is happening in a double slit experiment. I'm like the observer. And when I observe, the photons became a particle instead of a wave. And it runs through a single slit, one at a time. But if I'm not observing, it is a wave of positive, negative, and it's just probabilities of whether it's on this side or on that side. You don't know. Until you see, then reality collapses. But if you don't observe, it's simply a possibility of positive, negative, positive, negative. It's what I remembered in the Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. It says, in the beginning created God, the identifier, heavens and earth. So heavens and earth is a positive, negative. But it doesn't do anything good because it's just positive, negative. And that is, this positive, negative is running also through my brain and through the world I lived in. But what is in the middle of it, right? The in-between state, that is the breath that brings about the identifier. And this identifier, which is the breath, is what created God. It's running this way or the other way. That means to say, creating God. God is the identifier from which heaven and earth opens. Or it can be the other way. Duality, heaven and earth, in between is the identifier, and then from there is God. So what is the true causation? The true causation is the voice. The true causation is the breath. The rope and me is not connected. The rope is connected to itself in the causation. But the viewer, I have the voice. I have the will. And it's just a matter of my will. The identifier that brings about what I want. So perhaps this dream is teaching me that the stumbling block of all this process is that the man himself is thinking that he is causing that object to move. But in truth, it's not the man who does it, it's the voice. Because the voice comes in between. It's the voice. The will comes in between. And this will somewhat brings about reality via the identifier, the presence. I think the error is to try to link myself to the object. The attachment is the error. Somehow, the viewer needs only to observe. There is no connection to the base. In the duplex world, I can see a causation because time and space is stretched. Distance is stretched for the observer to see. But if it wasn't stretched, it would still be as similar as a viewer, a causeless, do not know what. What went wrong is when we want a link. We want to make an attachment to another entity, so-called. And that attachment causes the problem. See, when the Bible says, do not fear, because fear itself is a kind of attachment to whatever that is on the other side. Do not have an idol worship. Why? Because there's attachment to the other side. I am that I am. Everybody is of himself. I have no right to say to the other party what to do at all. No right to even teach the other party. But in a duplex, because time is stretched, space is stretched, so we notice that A affects B. You see, the duplex zone is opposing the unizone. Although they come from the same place, but because I stretch it, so as a result, what I see apparently affects me to think that there is a causation when there isn't. I am of my own. Notice what I just said, which was an error. I said the duplex opposes the unispace. It doesn't oppose. The unispace have to remain as unispace. I allow it to oppose. my thought, my attachment allows me to be opposed by the other. But I'm not being opposed at all. Yesterday, for example, Conrad came into the chat group and make a comment about me. Was I upset? Yes, I was. I was upset because I have a thought in my mind. Here is an idol worshiper. The person is so very attached to the approval of others, giving a command to me. So, in a way, I blasted out. Right. So was I right or wrong? I'm definitely wrong. Why wrong? Not the comments that I made. That doesn't matter. But that I felt being opposed by him. That's the point. And again, there was the other guy called Vernon. Now, I kind of made him angry because I didn't respond to his chat group. I didn't tell him that I'm not going to go for table tennis. I guess he felt angry because he was the one who booked it, but then I didn't come. So notice very interesting. He's the one who booked it, but I didn't come. We link so much to our actions. And the response of others, we link as well. And that person becomes upset. But I am also upset. So whether he's wrong or not is not my problem. But the point is that I'm also upset by him. Because he says, why didn't you tell me you're not coming? I knew what went into my mind. I didn't want to respond because I was afraid to disappoint him in a way, right? So you see, when I was afraid to disappoint him, that amounts to an attachment. So, again, I'm wrong there. But that wrong brought about another wrong. My first reaction was that maybe I should not deal with this Vernon in my life. Because he's angry kind. Quite easily, he can become angry. So my reaction to him was, maybe I should not socialize with him. But the point is that, again, I'm feeling attached to him. Gosh. What is so funny is that I don't know how to respond to him even right now. There's a lot of attachment that goes on in my mind, to the extent that I don't know how to respond to him. But as I relax myself, I realize that just let it be. That's the only way to respond. The person is entitled to behave whatever he like, and if he calls upon me, I still have to answer. It is and I will answer according to my own being, and not because of my own thought, which I attach to. Just be, and everything will be all right, because that other person is only facing himself, and only himself will respond back to him, not me. I don't have to respond to it. But But at that moment, I don't know how to respond. And my response was anger, which isn't correct at all. And right now, I know that all those months in which I got bullied, how did I respond? I don't know. I couldn't respond at all at that time when I was young in the army, but I just followed and obeyed. And for that, I'm rewarded. But I'm rewarded many years later. That's the point. Many years later. But surely the reward will come. And all I need to do was keep quiet, like I did during the months when I was bullied. So how? That's why it requires tremendous faith in the I. Tremendous faith. We value the I, and so we take care of that I. But actually the I itself takes good care of itself, even without my response. All I need to do is just simply still and unattached. If I have not responded to Conrad, it would not matter whatever he says. If it is done wrong, he would have to bear it, not me. But my rewards will come. But it may not come immediately, because at that moment, I'm being insulted. I will appear dumb and stupid in the chat group. But that's the idea. Why don't I just keep quiet? But a thought was then in my mind. Perhaps I just must make a point to say that Jesus is an idol. I was actually talking to the whole group, actually. I was trying to help people to realize that idol worship is incorrect. And that going through a Torah lessons wouldn't be necessary if a person still holds on to a Jesus in his life. I was trying to tell people. But I guess right now, I think I'm still in the wrong, because in the chat group, I don't know what the reactions are. But do I need to correct? I don't think I need to correct. Just let it be. Whatever they say, if it is incorrect, whatever they think if it's incorrect, they will bear for it. For me, I don't know what rewards there is for me, but I wait upon the Lord. That's what they say. So before closing, I would say that I come from a world where truly I cannot understand. It is I alone. And although it apparently appears that in the duplex zone, we are kind of linked from A to B and B to A, and although it apparently appears that in the duplex zone, somebody can affect me, that me which is in the duplex zone, but in truth, no one can really affect me. I am of my own self alone. And I face a duplex world with a tremendous puzzle and distraction, and yet the duplex world sometimes beats me up, and it's so strong to the extent that I have to get attached to the duplex world. Whatever the person does, he will bear account of it. That's the point. I don't have to react. That's the key. That's the key to life, happiness. I don't have to react. Easily said and done. But the fact is that I came from a uniworld, that the I is awesome. It doesn't come from anywhere, in fact. Because to say that I came from a uniworld would also imply a cause and effect. I can't say where it comes from, because there's a cause and effect to that statement. Very awesome. Yet I speak out from the body. And yet I don't have to do anything because I'm God. It's just simply awesome. I really don't know. It's very awesome indeed. That this causeless one is everything. And even to say that the causeless one is everything, I'm trying to rationalize. I'm trying to make a description of the causeless one. That's the error too. I'm expected to be I without a reason to be as I, without an attachment, to be as I. As I. There's no need for a reason, even. And yet, be faithful, be strong, and remain as I. Any attempt to explain the phenomena, any attempt to rationalize and make myself feel good, or to go back to a reasoning process whereby I can find my I again, won't work actually. It's still a form of attachment. It's still idol worship.